of the United States of America,
and to the
to
republic
the
for which
republic for which
it stands,
stands
one nation, under God,
one God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
All right. Any public comment tonight? Nothing? Approval of the minutes from last meeting? Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg.
A motion from Greg to accept the motion. Do I have a second? Maybe
Bill
from
Strikers.
Bill. Okay, Stryker seconds. All in favor? Do we need a roll call? Would that be easier, Greg?
I would ask first if there's any opposed.
Any opposed? I see nobody.
We're all positive.
All positive, so motion carries. Correspondence report.
All right, we had, I sent it out this morning. Invoice from Hogan Willig regarding TCTOA. Hogan Willig invoice for services for general matters. New County EMS course application. Wyoming County EMS course sponsorship renewal paperwork. Gloria, Western New York Law Enforcement assisting individuals in crisis. REMAC 2020 REMAC annual skills update. Catholic Health Sisters Hospital of St. Joseph's campus is reopening on 8/2 at 7 a.m. New York State Department of Health information regarding business reopening tools. From Gloria, GCI seminar, and then from New York State Department of Health interim guidance for EMS education courses.
All right. Moving on to a treasurer's report. We have Madonna.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can now.
Okay. As far as the good evening, everyone, first of all, and I apologize if my dog all of a sudden barks for the first time. To hear something, a bird outside. I just had my budget here. Sorry, I just went to. Here we are. Hey, did everybody receive the expenditure report? I know it was a little later in the day. I tried to send it as a PDF. I know sometimes if I send it as an Excel, I don't get it. Are there any questions? The report that I sent is dated through June 30th, because that included the extra $62.50 that we had been given for April through June, part of the contract extension. And to date, and through that, we spent $3,631.57, which I will be submitting a claim for once we handle some other housekeeping issues. We did receive all of our reimbursement from the previous 4 quarters for last year, minus, I believe it was about $1,800 because of the amount they would not reimburse us for the dinner, the food. And we've discussed that before, I believe. Does anyone have any questions? It's under equipment, it says $18.82. That was for the Microsoft software that had to be purchased, and it was a little over $100, but the computer company had credited me a certain amount of money, so it ended up only being, in the end, about $18.82 that we had to spend. So, are there any questions?
I don't see any questions, Donna.
Okay, all right. And then should we address the budget later, under budget?
Sure, that sounds cool.
Okay, and, yeah, we'll do that then at that point.
I make the motion, we accept the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Chris, for that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Was that Eric?
Yeah.
All right. Second by Eric. Any
And I
abstentions?
forgot to mention that expenditures for July and August, we did not have any. I do still have a pending payment to UEMS for the 3,000 quarterly payment we pay to them.
Right. We all in favor? Thanks, Tom. All right, so carried. Medical Advisory Committee.
I didn't attend the last meeting. I don't know if Scott has a report.
Other than the annual credentialing of skills has been canceled since communication has been sent out, and that was for the skills that ended June 30th of 2020. And I can speak a little bit to that in my report as needed.
All right. Any questions for Scott? All right, moving forward, New York State Council. Right.
The council had a meeting by Zoom or whatever we used. And the matters that actually came up of importance was the operating certificate for Ezra Nasham. Close. It was an all-women's ambulance corps looking for an operating certificate to operate in a section of Brooklyn, which contains Hasidic Jews. They wanted an all-women's organization to respond to women's issues. The current organization that covers that is a which is an all-male ambulance service that would not accept any women into their organization. It went to their local council. It was turned down. There was an appeal. Went to the state. And the suggestion was to overturn it, and the state council overturned the denial and gave Ezra Nashim an operating certificate in that area of Brooklyn. So that was done. The other thing of note was the passing from the of other scope of practice, adding nasal swabs and to the scope of practice of the paramedics, which was interesting, to say the least. What, Scott, do you remember what else they passed? They passed one other thing, scope of practice, didn't they?
Use of turbutaline.
Okay, yeah. So it was an interesting and a challenging couple hours on the, just as this is, but we're getting used to it. And I'm not sure if the next meeting is going to actually be in person or we're going to do another conference like this. So That's that for the state.
All right, Erie County, Greg.
Erie County is going to run a CLI class this weekend, starts this weekend. 17 folks are already registered into it. It's going to be a combination of video connectivity and using skills through Zoom and other types of media. We're also going to bring into with the use of sim mannequins. And there's a whole lot of changes on the education side, how we register classes, how we take information from the students, how we get test results and things like that. So most of the class will be didactic in instruction, but we're adding all these extra little things to the class to help the students along. It'll be a 3-day class. It'll be over next Saturday. And then they, as everybody knows, instead of just going on, they take a written test. That's not based on their EMT or paramedic scores. It's based on the actual education test. We're looking to do an IC class later on in the year, possibly in December, depending on what the interest is for it. And I'll just turf over to Tracy to talk about the county's efforts in the COVID. Tracy? I didn't tell her that she was doing this, by the way. She must be making dinner. All right, well, the county is doing a number of sites,
Can you hear
test
me now?
sites. Oh, that's good.
Oh, I was double muted. How about that? I'm not making dinner. I'm still in the office. So we continue to do multifaceted testing. We're continuing to do diagnostic PCR swab testing 3 days a week. We maintain a scheduling Mondays in Amherst, Wednesdays in Orchard Park, and then Thursdays down at the Convention Center in Buffalo. And then we're supplementing that with occasional pop-up testing as needed to address any, clusters that are occurring in the community with common exposures like employment or something like that. And then we're doing antibody testing 2 days a week at various locations throughout the county, and those change every month, but those are on Tuesdays. And then for the month of September, actually tomorrow night we'll be at the Cheektowaga Senior Center from 4 to 8. And then back to our regular Tuesday, and then we have a couple of Friday afternoons scheduled, and then we did bring back the Saturday schedule will be at Lancaster later in the month. So all that's available on the Erie County website with all of our COVID information, and there's an interactive map there where you can click on a location. It'll give you testing locations, not just that we're offering, but that are offered throughout Erie County. Our numbers here in Erie County are continuing to increase, and we are seeing, last couple of days, about 70 to 75 positive cases, new positive cases coming in, attributed mostly to the resumption of college students back in the Buffalo area, and continuing to monitor travelers coming into the area and getting ready for the K through 12 schools to start. So folks continue to be pretty busy here at the health department, and I guess Greg and I can take any questions from the group if there are any. Great, thank you.
Okay,
That's it for Erie.
thank you, Greg. Wyoming County, Bill.
Good evening, everybody. Wyoming County, obviously, we're not as busy as Erie County. We are trying to get back to normal as best we can. We're looking forward to hopefully running a couple EMT classes. We're still working through the processes of how that's going to roll out. We have rolled out some incidental training across the county. We spread out across the county to try and keep our gatherings small and still get that information out to the first responders and the EMS side. As far as the COVID, we do a minimal amount of testing. Our hospital is fired back up for procedures and stuff, so a lot of our testing is done there. We had a local pharmacy that was able to provide free testing for anybody that registered for it. It was drive-through. That worked out well. That's coming to an end shortly. One thing that kept us busy in Wyoming County is food distribution. Once a week, we did a distribution in 4 different parts of the county. It's mind-boggling for a small county how much food is going out there, and not a whole lot of double dipping on it, but there's some of that as well. Again, our numbers are pretty stable. The only increases we see is 1, 2, maybe 3 a day. We're up to 120 positive cases. We got 114 recoveries and 5 that passed away through this process. So we only have 1 active case right now. A lot of quarantine, self-quarantine, voluntarily quarantine going on up here. People are traveling and coming back, and we're having a few issues there. We're also monitoring restaurants through the health department. We've had some issues. We have the tattletellers that have been keeping our health department tremendously busy. We did have to shut down for a few hours. A campground water park got out of control, and so they made some adjustments, and they're back up and running right now. Other than that, another little through this whole thing, our chairman of the board, Friday's his last day. He's resigning. So we'll be going through a process trying to come up with another chairman of the board of supervisors that runs our county. So that's end of report for Wyoming County.
Thank you, Bill. Western New York stress, right?
The last report they gave me was they've had 3 call-outs since our last meeting.
All right, we're down to committee reports. Budget?
Okay, I also sent out a copy of a proposed budget, and I have to apologize to Tracy and Eric for the very short notice in taking a look at this. We're supposed to be a budget committee and have input from them. But I spoke with Ms. Perugia from the Department of Health, and we've been working on finalizing everything from the April through June period as far as Grants Gateway and everything that was required with that, so that I can submit a claim for reimbursement of our expenditures. So I did put together she said that we need to have a budget for the new fiscal year, which now is July 1st through June 30th. I basically went off of what we have proposed or approved in the past. I can go through and speak to some of those expenditures page by page if you'd like, or if you have any questions. I did add some areas. I changed one of the space rental for South Wales Fire Department for use of their hall for our council meetings, which we haven't been using at the moment, but I still put $500 in there under space and property. I had monies as usual under copy supplies, so forth, and postage for the secretary and treasurer and the council itself. I have our annual membership meeting. It's our awards banquet. We were told that we can have certain costs covered if it was more like a training. There was some training involved also, possibly have a speaker, facility rental fee, and the awards, $1,500. Now these figures we can adjust however anybody wishes. Just suggestions of what we've done before. Plus Greg had said we were going to look for some donations, and he was going to be working on that when the time comes. The stress reduction team, our fee for stress training services, the $2,500 as we've done in the past. Education and training was something I added. It's something I know we've done in the past. I'm not sure how much we can still, I guess it is an expenditure that we can have reimbursed as long as we have it approved, and maybe Scott can speak to, I'm sure, more on that. Maybe collaborating with them on training initiatives within the region as we've done before to promote, recruitment and retention of our EMS personnel. Let's see. And we have legal services. We can adjust that. It's typically, I believe, still at a rate of $285. It's a contractual, it's under contractual and it can remain there. We are allowed to, because they invoice us for their services, we are allowed to have a verbal contract with them. Program agency is the monies that we give, the $3,000 per quarter to do EMS for, I guess, their tasks and so forth, and above and beyond our deliverables. And we do need to, I was told by Lynn Ferrugia that I have been able to upload the contract that we have, the agreement that we've had in place for quite some time. I have not been able to locate a signed contract. The one I have has Scott's name and Cheryl Mayer's name at the bottom, and there are no signatures. Chris has tried to locate one, and Scott has also said he has attempted to find one that's signed so I can upload that. They have allowed me to upload this without the signatures, but now they would like an updated agreement that has been reviewed and signed. So before I am able to claim any of the monies that we spend in that area. And that's another reason I have not written the check just yet. They said not to expend any monies until I have that done also. So that's something the board needs to discuss because, if the work is still being done, then, I think this is something I know we've talked about quite a bit over the past couple of years, but I don't think we've ever come to setting up or finalizing anything. So I guess it's up to the council how you want to proceed from here. And
Any thoughts from the floor? No thoughts, Brian?
I'd suggest that, Crystal's Brian, I'd suggest that maybe you refer this to the executive committee to review the current MOU, use that as a basis for a subsequent MOU, invite Scott to the next meeting to have a discussion, and then take all of that back to, I believe Madonna said she was speaking with Lynn Ferrugia, and make sure that, that we meet those parameters for whatever it takes to get the payment out and adjust it.
Is our next executive board meeting, which is in October, be soon enough, McDonough? Or do we need to specialize one in a couple weeks?
like to get it done as soon as possible. I know it makes it difficult when you have a meeting once a month or once every other month with the entire council. I'm just wondering if it goes to the executive board, then it would still have to go to the full council for a vote, wouldn't it? Scott, maybe you can shed the light on that. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes, Scott.
So a couple things on this. I think the first thing that they're asking for is an executed copy of the agreement, which is an easy thing to do. Like, that's a straightforward, we should just execute it. Nobody seems to have the executed copy. A part of what I've experienced and what Madonna exclusively has experienced and what everyone else across the state has experienced is that there is a change in administrative philosophies, and it's not about what the past has done, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but there's a change in philosophy in the way that things are going to be administrated. We had with our contract, we went through this last year. We have, of all the program agencies, we probably have one of the most clean contracts and clean methods of, of receiving and expending money of all the program agencies. And we went through a pretty fine picking last fall. And that's what Madonna has been going through with the regional council and allowable expenses and not allowable expenses. So I think all that Lynn is looking for is an executed copy of the agreement. Now, is this for quarter? It would be your contract is a little bit different right now. So is this for the April through June payment that they're asking for this?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Everything else went through for the prior, so it'd be that, and then in moving forward. She said, though, that the payments are going to be delayed anyway, so
Well,
maybe,
everything is because they're only
like you
paying
said.
COVID-related
Mhm.
expenses. They're not paying our fourth quarter voucher. They're not paying anybody's fourth quarter voucher across the state. So they're only paying COVID-related expenses right now. So it won't, the right thing to do is just to execute the agreement that's been in place for the last 9 years and just get that solidified. Now, if we want to go back to the table and we want to talk about some of the other things that we've assumed as some of our responsibilities, which is a little bit different than, they're part of your deliverables, but they're things that the state has changed in your deliverables, like, the council mail, setting up your storefront for you, and having a database and managing providers with the portal that's very expensive and all that stuff. We're happy to go back to the table and have a conversation about those items that are in your deliverables and what the actual costs are that are related to that. And execute a new MOU, but we're not under the gun to do that. If we execute the old, we can pay bills moving forward, and then we can have a conversation about revising what we're doing for you and what the costs are that are going to be associated with that moving forward. Okay, so I think the quick fix, in summary, is to just execute the agreement that's been in place for the last 9 years to satisfy the existing issue.
Right. I think it's not about let me see. I guess she said just that we can justify the 12,000 in addition to what you're receiving. Otherwise, it has to be above and beyond. That's all. I don't know. I guess even just to review it. And I agree. I think going forward, like to execute the current contract, I think she just said periodically it should be reviewed, and we need to justify the 12,000 as something, fast and so forth that are above and beyond.
We are required to do that anyway.
Okay, thank you.
All right, just for my clarification, we are going to justify, just kind of redo the one, like re-sign the one that it's in, that we have been using for the last 9 years, and then we can go and start in October and work on a new one. Is that what I'm hearing is what we're doing, Scott?
I think as that's the way to go. And then as Brian suggested, maybe having it go to the executive. Is that what you meant in October?
October.
From there and have it worked on and have Scott work on it with us and whatever we need to review. And
All right. Madonna, can we get the signatures going on that? Can work on reprinting it so the appropriate people can sign it?
sure, will do.
And okay, and then we go just table the rest of it to October. All right, anything else?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I will also then issue the payment, the 3,000 for this quarter. And then we'll have another that will start in October, for October through December. So I will make that payment.
All right, that sounds good. Anything else for the budget committee? All right.
Crystal, can you repeat that again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, we wanted the current MUE that has been in place for the last 9 years we're just gonna up to set down. In October, the executive will be sitting down with Scott, hopefully, we will be working on updating it and reviewing it and making it, trying to come up with a new one.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
We have to have some sort of motion for that, Crystal, to have the current contract. We would have Scott's signature, and also it would be your signature this time. Do we probably need a motion for that?
I think we should. Brian, you agree? We need a motion to do this?
Sure. I move to authorize Crystal to execute on behalf of the council the current MOU in place that enables UEMS to act as our program agency and receive compensation.
Thank you, Brian.
I
And
will second the motion.
all right, you will second it, and I saw Lynn type in, she will second it. Is there any abstentions? All in favor then?
Aye.
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 Right. Okay, so moved. If there's nothing else for the budget committee, we can move on to membership. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. And as far as the budget itself, we feel comfortable adopting the budget as I have presented it. Does anyone else have any questions or any thoughts on that? Because we're supposed to have that submitted as soon as possible.
Just a question, Madonna. That's open to amendment throughout the year, correct?
That's correct. We can move monies, and we can also, with the approval of Lynn's office, and that we can reappropriate the monies.
Okay. I move that we adopt the budget as presented, and looks like somebody else just did that in the chat. Okay, I second that motion.
all right, I got a first by Lynn, and Brian has seconded it. Do I have any abstentions to accepting the budget? All right, and everybody's in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so moved. Okay, Madonna, are we good?
I think that's it. Thank you very much for everybody's patience.
All right. Membership, Ann, we're ready now.
Hi, everyone. Updated membership, we have 13 members for Erie County. The 4 alternates are filled by Erie County. Wyoming County has 9. I do have one application for Wyoming County. That would be James Hammond, which everybody should know him. He is currently the EMS liaison with Catholic Health. He lives in Attica, so he would be representing Wyoming County and taking one of their spots. So if there's no objection, I make a motion that we add him to the council. And then we do have one pending Erie County for Ron Barrett. And there's no open positions at this time for that. That's it.
All right, I saw a second by Stryker for Jim. Do I have any abstentions or any abstentions? Yeah. To Jim? All in favor for allowing Jim to become a member?
Aye.
All right. And Jim's now a new member of our council. And you can let him know?
I will let him know, and I will get an updated membership list to Christina, Brian, and a copy to Chris.
All right. Could I get a forward to that too, please?
Me also too, Ann. I appreciate getting that to
You
me.
need that for the state. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Systems Committee.
No report.
Cool. Training and Ed. Education. Chris.
Nothing to report.
Bylaws.
Well, we had a meeting, several months ago. We were working on finalizing everything, just unfortunate with everything that happened, we all kind of got a little on the busy side. So, but as soon as we have something, we will let you guys know.
All right. That's good. Thank you. Awards and PR, Greg. Is Greg still here? Greg has us all on mute. He doesn't want to hear us anymore.
No, I think Greg was disconnected. He said he was trying to switch computers and he can't reconnect.
Oh, okay. Well, we go skip that for now, and if he comes back, we go get a report. If not, we go hold it until next time. New York State Department of Health. Mr. Major. Is he with us? I know he's not on my screen, but I could only see 6. Anybody else have any info on the New York State Department of Health? All right, no report. Executive Board. We will have a meeting the first Wednesday of October, and we will actually meet in person, I'm sure, because it's just the board and Scott, that we can find a place that we can all be safe and be 6 feet away / mask, that we can meet in person and do it. I could work with Greg to come up with that spot. Madonna, is 5:30 okay with you?
That should work. Yes. Is that okay for everyone else though? I probably could make it a little sooner if, no, actually, I should be fine either way. Whatever time is good for anyone, I should be able to make it earlier if that's better for everyone.
Crystal, I can arrange for a place if that makes it easier.
All right, could
Just
you
give
do
me
that?
float me a couple dates and we'll make it happen.
The first Wednesday of October. Whatever. Would it be the 7th? That's November, mother.
Duly
Yes,
noted. We'll come up with a place. 5:30?
5:30, yes.
Okay, thanks.
It's somewhere in Erie County, because that's where we usually do it.
How many people are coming from Wyoming County?
Me and Donna.
Okay, so Madonna, you're probably coming from downtown.
And Carol.
And Carol, staff. Okay, sorry. So, all right. So we'll shoot for somewhere in the South Towns. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
All right. I'm sure we can find a place that's big enough for us to meet,
Thank you.
I think we just easier. All right, program agency report. When you're ready, Scott.
All right, so a few things. The Regional Trauma Advisory Committee, the RTAC, is going to meet remotely on Wednesday, September 9th, and that's a morning meeting, but if anybody wants the information, you can log into that. There's usually a case review or two that happens within it, and there's information that comes out and an opportunity to request feedback, questions rather, pose them to the Trauma Advisory Committee. So if you need that information, just shoot me an email. I can send you the link. The REMAC meeting is going to be held ideally in person. It is originally was scheduled to occur in the Olean region, and that's going to be on Wednesday, September 16th. We're still working out whether that's going to be an in-person meeting or if it's going to be Zoom or if it's going to be a combination of the two. But we'll send the information out regarding that in case anyone wants to join in. That's Wednesday, September 16th at 1 o'clock. Along with the REMAC, as I mentioned previously, they canceled the skills for 2020, and those were the skills that ended for June 30th of 2020. At this point, until further notice, they're discouraging any type of interaction where you're doing skills verifications unless it's someone who is newly certified and they need to have those skills verified. And so probably an important thing to remember is that while a number of the skills are covered within EMT certification courses, there are a few that are not. So, the right way to approach this is let's not have people redo skills that they've done within EMT certification programs and been evaluated on, but rather let's maybe, if we're going to have a contact with somebody that is non-essential, I guess, for lack of a better word, even though everything we do is essential, if we're going to have a contact to try to reduce the number of the frequency of contacts that we have, then maybe we stick to the skills that are not covered within EMT classes and evaluated, but are a part of the REMAX skills. So if that's confusing to anyone, reach out to me. I'm happy to clarify it. Along the same lines with regard to skills, the portal is reflecting incorrect information as it pertains to skills verified through. And so if you look for the majority of the people in the region, you're going to see that their skills are valid through June of 2020. And we're aware of this. And it's really an incredibly complicated fix because the portal was built around a bunch of rules, which are the REMAX rules, and everything is automated. We don't sit here and turn the switch on based on who's submitted what for 2,400 providers in Erie and Wyoming County. And so we're working with the developers. And so for right now, what we're telling people is don't look at the skills verification dates that are in there, in the sense that if it says skills are valid through June of 2020, you just have to look past that right now. And we're trying to work on a more system-wide fix so that people don't have to enter false information into the portal. So we're working on that. That being said, there was really no waiver beyond for the alphabet soup classes beyond what was offered by the underwriting programs. And here's what I mean by that. So if the American Heart Association is saying that your CPR card was valid for 60 days after, May 31st, that means your card was valid until July 31st and you needed to get a class. The REMAX stuck with whatever each of the individual underwriting programs, what they opted to be for their extensions. Personal opinion, a lot of it is pretty tight because I'm not sure people really had enough time to get into research classes. If you have people who are in your programs, in your agencies rather, who need the training, just get them into it as soon as possible and get this fixed. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Nobody's looking to drop the hammer on anything, but just get it fixed as soon as you can. If you need training classes or whatnot, just arrange for them so you can get people squared away. And so kind of the standard rules are in effect for the alphabet soup courses, whereas the annual skills you have until June 30th of 2021 to get those completed. And if you have any questions on that, please reach out to me. There's been some policy statements that have come out. The most recent one is the interim guidance for EMS education courses. And the most significance to this policy is related to CME research programs. And so a lot of what's in this, there's a number of points that have been included within executive orders that have come out from the governor. And this is just really a compilation of all of that information. CME research is probably the one that would have an impact most directly on EMS services. Most of what's in this policy pertains to core sponsors or agencies that offer EMT training. So CME research, what this is saying is that you do not have to be affiliated with an EMS service to renew through CME research. Essentially, it removes the continuous practice clause. You still have to have a medical director sign off on your application in order to renew. So you have to, even though you may not be a part of an agency, you have to find a medical director who's going to be willing to sign off on your application. They're not going to accept it without that. It also means that regardless of what your agency's online approval is, you are permitted as a provider to do 100% of your learning online, and you can utilize it for CME research. So even if you're a service that's not approved for 100% online learning, your providers can still do their learning at this point 100% online, as long as it complies with the other requirements. You have to have a CIC sign off. You have to meet all the other requirements. And so the last part of this is that because the continuous practice piece of it is not within there, it's essentially overridden at this point. A paramedic could renew in a BLS agency through CME research. All right. So again, because they could do their training online and they could have a medical director sign off on their application and they would be able to renew that way. So there's a lot that I just unpacked within the CME research alone. This is a 3 or 4 page policy statement that you will gouge your eyeballs out reading, as Lynn is attesting to right now. But really, again, the CME research piece of it is something that you probably will have some questions on. Keep in mind that things that are included within this policy, they expire when the executive order expires. All right. So if you have people who would benefit from renewing under some of the opportunities that are available through these executive orders, the advice is have them renew and get it through ASAP, because once the executive order expires, unless it becomes a part of regulation legislation, then you're going to be out of luck, and it could be all for naught. The Vital Signs Conference for 2020 is going to be virtual. They are going to do the 2021 conference in Saratoga Springs, where this year's conference was originally intended to be, and it's going to be November 11th through the 14th. Vital Signs Academy, those are trainings that come out from the Bureau. They do 5 a week. Mondays are at 11 o'clock in the morning. I believe the rest of the week are in the evening. As we get that information, we share it. What we've been asking of the Bureau is that they get the notifications out sooner so that people can plan accordingly, especially since the Monday morning or the Monday one is at 11 o'clock in the morning. Also, people's interest can be sparked a little bit by the topic. So if they're going to make a provision to attend something, they're going to want to know to be able to do it. The program agencies had asked the Bureau to try to get that information out by 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays. They've done a pretty good job of trying to get it out ahead of time, but they're working very diligently to get speakers lined up for that. people who are utilizing paper PCRs, they are testing right now a portal for electronic submission of PCRs, which means that you would no longer send the yellows to us. Now, the last thing that I want to see is anybody tell people that they no longer send the yellows to us, because that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that you're going to be able to take some information from your yellow PCRs, and you will be able to enter it into the state repository system, and you will no longer at that point have to send yellows to us if you're going to agree to do that. That being said, we chase a lot of people around to get them to send their yellow PCRs into us. So there's a lot of logistics to work with in this, but within the next probably month or two, we're going to start enrolling some pilot agencies into this that might be interested in submitting. It is, I can tell you, it's very similar to what we entered for the National Ambulance contract. For the calls that were being taken downstate during the pandemic's peak. And Karen, who works for us, who you all know and love, and I have to say that because she's sitting across from me right now. She's not an EMT, never has been, and she entered several hundred charts for the National Ambulance contract into the system using essentially what they're talking about for this portal for electronic submission. So it's not an insult when I say this, but you don't have to be medically trained, and you can figure out what they're looking for to enter this. So there'll be more information coming on this. You've probably heard something about this for if you attend one of the agency and leadership updates that the state has done. Two last things. They are not issuing cards for those who had their certifications expired. So all of us who had our certifications expired for a year, don't look for a new card in the mail. You're not going to get one. If you need your certification date expired for any reason, employment or otherwise, that is something that can be done through the health commerce system. If your EMS officer needs an account for the health commerce system, I've set up a gazillion of these, and I can set up some more. Just let me know and I can set you up with an HCS account. If you just need one certification verified and you don't want an HCS account, just email me and I can get that information to you. The last thing that I have is just a reminder to Chris Zemrak. Mark Kenyon is to be appointed as the OSHI rep with Jeremy Killian, Dr. Killian, as his alternate. I did not see that on the agenda, and it was not discovered until just before the meeting started. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Scott? All right, moving right along. Any old business? You guys may have to help me out. I'm going off of an old agenda sheet. My agenda's on my phone, and that's what I'm using to stream off, so I can't look at the current one. Is there any new business?
This would be the REMAC rep change from Dr. Kenyon, or from Dr. Boughton to Dr. Kenyon, with Killian as the alternate.
All right, do I have a motion, Lynn?
I'll second. Yeah. Who's making the motion?
All right. I have a motion, I'm assuming from Carol, she typed an I. And a second, maybe from Madonna? A second from Madonna. Is there any extensions for that change? I don't see any. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, it passed, approved. Anything else that needs to be brought up in front of us? All right, thank you guys all for coming tonight and hang out with us online. I'll go see you guys all in November, the first Wednesday of November. Hopefully we can be in person at that point. And do I have a motion for adjournment?
Eric, second.
Second, it's carried. Have a great night.